Paul never wanted a holy war. He wanted one thing, love. But when courage is misunderstood, your life becomes someone else's weapon. And that's the real warning at the heart of Dune 2 and 3. Dune 2 shows you what true courage looks like. And Dune 3 reveals the deadly cost when that courage is twisted into something it was never meant to be. Here is the warning hidden in Dune 2 and deepened in the story that Dune 3 is based on, the Dune Messiah story. Dune 2 shows you how to face fear with clarity. Dune 3 shows what happens when people misunderstood that courage and turn it into a path of destruction. Paul isn't a pure hero, and he isn't a pure villain. His power comes from both light and darkness, from two bloodlines never meant to mix. But that's exactly what his story feels real, because we are the same. No one is only one thing. I'll talk more about his deeper theme, from Dune to Joker to Squid Game to Demon Hunters, in another video. But before we go there, let me ask you something real. Have you ever felt something growing inside you that scared you? Not because it was wrong, but because you knew deep down you're becoming something bigger than the life you're living right now. That's the heart of Dune. Paul isn't afraid of failing. He's afraid of the power rising inside him. And he's misunderstood because people see a Messiah where he only wants to love and protect. And the worst part? He has to watch the world twist his own growth into a holy war he never wanted. So listen carefully. This isn't just a breakdown of Dune. It's a warning about what happens when power is misunderstood, and a mirror showing how easily your own life can be twisted the same way. Here's what most people look over. Paul never stopped into the desert to become a ruler. In Dune Part 2, he is running for survival, learning the ways of the Fremen, struggling to earn their trust, and trying to protect Chani and his mother in a world collapsing around him. Every choice he makes is small, human, and reluctant. Joining the race, mastering the sandwalk, rising the worm for the first time, not to claim destiny, but simply to defend the people who took him in. But the more he tries to stay grounded, the more others push him upward, protecting prophecy onto his every move, reading destiny into his every victory. His personal fight becomes a symbol he never agrees to carry. And that's the thread running through Dune Part 2 and the Dune 3 trailer. How a young man's struggle to survive and love can be twisted into a path toward the holy war long before he realizes what the world is turning him into. So let's go deeper. Today we are diving into Dune 2 and Dune 3 trailer to understand the real meaning of courage, the danger of misunderstanding it, and why Paul Atreides never wanted to become the Messiah the universe forced him to be. Because what happens to Paul isn't just a sci-fi prophecy. It's a warning for every one of us. I'm Jay Lee, and this is Deeper into Film, Insight and Awakening. I've spent over 30 years studying stories, literature, film, philosophy, and spirituality. And here we use movies to understand our own lives with more courage, more clarity, and more love. If this way of seeing films resonates with you, tap subscribe, hit like, and tell me what moments in Dune 2 and 3 hit you the hardest. I genuinely want to hear from you. And now, before Paul becomes a symbol, there's one moment that defines everything. Before Paul becomes a symbol, he has to survive fear itself. And if you remember one moment from Dune Part 2, remember the gum jabber. Paul's hand is burning inside the box. A poisoned needle rests at his neck. One flinch, one breath out of place, and he dies. What does this scene matter so much? Because the test asks a question we all face. Can you stay present when your whole body is screaming to run and when your rage is pushing you to lash out like an animal? The Gunjabber is about one thing, not losing your humanity when fear and anger to take control. And once you understand that, Dune 2 makes it painfully clear. Your first enemy isn't out there. It's fear inside you, and the mind is always full of contradictions. The girl he keeps seeing in his dreams, Chani. He doesn't know her yet, but he loves her. And in your life, when your boss gives you an impossible deadline, that's your gum jabber. When you get a crushing email, that's your gum jabber. Can you stay present? Fear shows up at the exact moment you're about to grow. When life is asking you to become bigger than the vision of yourself you've been living. So the question isn't, do you feel afraid? Everyone does. The real question is, can you stay steady inside the fear long enough to change? That fear doesn't disappear. It just changes shape. After Paul survives the test, his fear doesn't vanish. It sinks into something quieter. The ego's whisper, stay small, stay safe, don't change. We all know that voice. But as in Dune 2 and Dune 3, fear never stays personal. When it spreads through a society, it doesn't whisper, it roars. And that's exactly what the Dune 3 trailer reveals. The chilling mass chant, listen Argyle, listen Argyle. Fear turns into fanaticism. Fear turns into destiny. Fear turns into violence wrapped in faith. Paul's awakening, meant for clarity and love, gets twisted into a call for war. Your fear tries to shrink you. The world's fear tries to use you. Real freedom begins when you see fear for what it really is. Not a wall, but a warning light. Not a stop sign, but a signal. And when you treat fear as information, not something you can notice, question, and walk through, you stop letting it decide your life for you. Every spiritual awakening begins in the wilderness, because the wilderness is the place of fear. The Messiah doesn't rise in comfort. He rises in the desert. Because the desert stripes away everything false, everything noisy, everything that protects you from yourself. In the Bible, the wilderness is where people meet God. In Buddhism, Buddha leaves the palace because truth can't be seen when life is too soft. And Paul follows the same ancient truth. The desert is where his awakening begins and where his fear becomes impossible to ignore. The Dune 3 trailer confirms the heroic scale. Entire armies mobilized in Paul's name, fire engulfing planets, devotion turning into violence. But the root of all of it begins here, in silence, sand, sky, and truth. Because in the desert, Paul sees something terrifying. Not just death, but the future he might cause. He doesn't only fear losing his life. He fears becoming the spark that burns a galaxy. And the trailer confirms it. That fear becomes real. But for now, that fear has one purpose: to show Paul who he truly is. And Paul isn't alone in this. Every spiritual figure faces this same moment. Jesus in the wilderness, Buddha facing Mara, prophets collapsing under the weight of vision. Paul's moment happens in the storm. He sees the holy war he will cause, and the weight of that vision crushes him. He collapses inside, not in body, but in spirit. His breath stops. His eyes drift away. And you can see the moment his hope breaks under the burden of what he's becoming. He doesn't fall because he's weak. He falls because the truth hits him all at once. He has to become the monster to save the ones he loves. Crowds worshiping him like a god. A holy war exploding in his name. Entire planets burning from devotion to a myth he never chose. Paul didn't want this. He saw the holy war coming and the visions shattered him. But even with all that grief, he never hesitates to fight. He strikes his enemies with absolute focus because in his mind, not fighting means losing everyone he loves. Especially Channy, the one person who anchors him to a life beyond prophecy. And here's where all of this lands in your life. He isn't choosing violence. He's choosing the only path he believes is left. And the world mistakes survival for destiny and destiny for permission. Here's the message for your life. Don't let your awakening become someone else's excuse for violence. Don't let your courage turn into aggression. Because when fear is misunderstood, people will use your light to justify their darkness. If strength ever turns into cruelty, that's not courage overcoming fear. That's fear taking control, right? Yes, real courage is this. Feel fear fully, stay steady anyway, and choose love over reaction. Violence is the easy path. Fear chooses it every time. But courage chooses clarity, restraint, responsibility. Dune's deepest message is about humility and a vast, fearless consciousness that expresses itself as love. Not superhero love, human love. Awakening isn't for chosen heroes. It's for every one of us. How we speak, how we listen, how we show up when fear rises. Your greatest power is your awareness. The calm, spacious consciousness within you that doesn't panic when life gets loud. A Messiah is someone who lives from that awareness and treats others with depth, steadiness, and clarity. If even a small part of you moves towards that kind of love, the world around you begins to shift. One moment, one choice, one person at a time, starting with you.